What's poppin', beautiful people up in YouTube land? I put the 3NG value, feel me? And this vid is the follow up to the other vid I did, and I actually put it on my other channel like a dumbass. I don't know why. If y'all want to watch the first part that I did, the reaction to Trap Lord's King Von little trilogy joint that he doing, check it on my first channel, 3G Valley GG. But I'm gonna react to this. Got to be part 2. So it's how King Von beat a murder. So I mean, it was crazy in the first one, so I know this one's gonna be even crazier. So without further ado, let's check it out.
May 29th, 2014, a birthday party is taking place in Englewood, Chicago, on the 5700 block of South LaSalle Street. And in attendance at this party are 4 men. A man named Malcolm Stuckey, who's chilling at this party with 2 unnamed friends of his. And also at the party is Davon Bennett, better known nowadays as King Von, the rapper from Chicago's O Block. Now, at a certain point during this party, Malcolm and his homies are steady eyeballing King Von, who decides at this point to briefly leave the party. He goes away and allegedly gets his homie Michael Wade, aka Big Mike. Now, Big Mike later told the police that he had gone to this party with King Von with the intention of acting as muscle for Von, who had planned to confront the person who had been mean mugging him. And when Von and Big Mike got back to the party around 45 minutes later, they parked up in an alleyway. Allegedly at this point, they both got out with loaded guns and proceeded to the front porch of the property, where they opened fire on Malcolm Stuckey and the 2 other men. Apparently they ended up firing over 20 shots. Malcolm Stuckey was unfortunately fatally wounded in the head. Meanwhile, the 2 other men attempted to flee, one into the house and the other down the street. However, unfortunately, once again, both were hit by gunshots, but ultimately they both survived. At this point, allegedly, Von and Big Mike ran back to their car and fled the scene. But of course, this was a serious charge that neither of them could run from for long. And within a few weeks, they were both in custody.
Bruh, these niggas live that real life Wire, bro. If you ever watched that TV show, bro, this is the real life Wire, bro. Like he said, like the shorty was the
Big Mike was charged first with murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. And within 2 weeks, King Von is picked up on the same murder and double attempted murder charges. However, during the process of being arrested, questioned and processed by the cops, Big Mike made one big mistake. According to the Chicago drill subreddit Chiracology, whilst being questioned by the cops, Mike apparently admitted letting off shots, but suggesting that he was not the one who did the killing, inferring that Von was indeed the true murderer. Now, it's possible that this comment just started out as a simple incriminating slip-up, which Mike was just trying to correct by suggesting that he wasn't the killer. But we would later find out that apparently Mike was in talks with the cops to flip on Von and snitch on him directly being the killer. But meanwhile, over in the other interview room, Von had decided to completely keep his mouth shut, not saying a word to the feds, choosing instead to sit in his cell and await his trial. And so with these numerous charges stacked on top of each other, we're talking a murder, double attempted murder, and gun charges, it was looking like Von might be facing over 100 years in jail.
So the murder say they want 20 years for the murder. Say if I get they give me 20 years for the murder. Plus the gun that's 21 years. So that's 41 years. That's just for the murder. And I got 2 attempt murders. I said they give me 21 years, 85 for 1 attempt in out of the attempt. 21, 42. So that's 42 plus the next other 2 times 21. And that's a lot of fucking years.
So Von sat in jail for an excruciating 3.5 years.
It sounded like they were speeding him up too. That's just how he talked. He was like, the motherfucker. That's a whole bunch of fucking time.
Just waiting around for his murder case to finally go to court. The delay was partly due to the feds struggling to find witnesses and the murder weapon, which apparently didn't surface until over a year after the incident took place. However, once the case did go to trial, King Von ended up being the beneficiary of perhaps one of the biggest accidental finesses in Chicago crime history.
How so, Trap Lord?
The King Von murder trial didn't go exactly as the prosecutors were expecting. Now, it had turned out that Big Mike had indeed cut a deal with the feds to flip on Von and try and pin the murder charge on him. But in an explosive last-minute twist, Mike reneged on the deal and refused to spill the beans on his slime. As a result, the court ended up finding Mike guilty, with the judge slapping a hefty additional sentence on Mike as punishment, with Mike reportedly getting 16 years just for the murder and another 12 purely for punishment for backing out of the snitch deal. 28 years in total. But as things continued, the prosecution's case against Von began to unravel. Bear in mind, it had taken prosecutors over a year to find the murder weapon, and when it did finally surface, Von had already been sitting in jail for this charge for quite some time. So with him in jail, once this weapon does turn up, it made it even harder for prosecutors to try and pin this gun on him. Meanwhile, the prosecutors had originally been counting on a couple of witnesses to try and at least pin Von to the crime scene, but in the end, witnesses ended up not coming to trial, leaving the prosecutors empty-handed and Von's involvement in this killing in doubt. And this is a fact
Them niggas was scared. That's why, bro. They was like, oh, nah, I'm good. He was not snitching, bro.
More sensational when you look at some of the lyrics that King Von has dropped in the years that have followed this case. For example, on the song What's Next with Jizzle Bucks, Von drops lyrics that seem to reference the 28-year sentence that Big Mike got for this murder, calling him out for talking reckless and even suggesting that maybe a witness was killed. He said he told on me before he got a longer sentence. I think they gave him 28. He'd rather talk than listen. Bitch was the only one that told. They killed the other witness. Now I'm just balling. I'm just flexing like my OTF necklace. That is some wild shit.
That's what I'm trying to say, bro. If this nigga was from New York, bro, that nigga would have got 98 years in prison, bro. Fuck what? Just off of just that, bro. They would have found something else to give him an extra life sentence, bro. Chirac niggas run different, bro.
So, however the fuck he managed to pull it off, after spending 3.5 years in jail waiting for the trial, Von completely beats this case, getting off not guilty, and immediately becomes a free man. Hell, even the gun dealer that sold the gun that was used in this killing ended up getting more time than Von spent sat in jail, with this one man Chirac ammunition catching 5.5 years. Apparently the gun used in the Big Mike King Von murder had been purchased 2 months before the incident from a licensed firearm dealer by a man named Jonathan Smalley, who was apparently reselling legally acquired guns back into the Chicago gang community for profit. One of the guns recovered from his case was even connected to fellow Chirac legend Lil Reese. In fact, this case even revealed that the same gun that was used to kill Malcolm Stuckey was used in a second shooting in Chicago only days later. But who cares about a firearms dealer getting half a decade in jail, when King Von completely beat his murder, came home and had all of the Chirac villains celebrate. And so, after having spent a long 3.5 years in jail, Von was finally a free man and had decided to start a new life. And with a fresh backstory involving murder and gangbanging under his belt, it would naturally make sense that he would try and parlay that rough reputation into dollars by becoming a rapper. And apparently Von's transition to microphone assassin from regular assassin happened naturally after he had spent a lot of time with his day one homie and fellow Chirac rap legend Lil Durk. And while I would probably call myself a fan of King Von's music, not everybody was thrilled at his new career choice. The sister of Malcolm Stuckey, that murder victim in Mike and Von's case, took to social media after discovering Von's new career choice to call him a clown and a murderer. But Von hasn't let his haters or any simple sense of human decency stop him, because since beating that case, he has made countless street anthems filled with references to shootings, murders, and all kinds of violent street crime that
all trial tribulation, bro. That's all him, bro. Like, that's all non-cat, bro. This nigga saying all that shit. That shit is real, bro.
common to the kind of rough upbringing in Chicago that he experienced. And with his incredible storytelling skills and his uncanny ability to write narrative-driven, slick street sonnets, like his Crazy Story series, has transformed him into one of the most feared, hyped, and fascinating acts in modern-day hip-hop. However, unfortunately, even with his positive career change moving from his native Chirac over to Atlanta to focus on his career, Von hasn't quite managed to stay out of trouble. So look out for the next and final video.
Damn, bro, you don't move to Atlanta, still getting in trouble.
Taking a closer look at
Can't take the hood out of him, man.
recent shooting charges in Atlanta. Hope you enjoyed that video. Shout out
Take the nigga out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of a nigga, bro. I mean, bro, this one, I guess, was like the compared to the first one, that first one was crazy, bro. This one was crazy too, but that first one was OD. I want to see how the third, because he literally posted the third one just now. I didn't realize this one was out for almost a week, well, over a week. So I'm about to dead check the third one out, because I want to see what goes going on. You feel me? But it's your boy G. I'm out of here. Peace.